Critical Blast, where pop culture gets blasted.
And good evening, everybody. I am RJ Carter, Senior Managing Editor here at criticalblast.com. And it's been a big day for me because Critical Blast Logistics has made a giant leap forward after having talked with a couple of other people yesterday who are wanting to jump in and use our distribution network for crowdfunding comics and shipping if you're outside of the U.S. And today we received our label printer and our postage meter. So I'm going to hook those up tonight. We're going to test those babies out and make sure that they're up to speed. I've watched the videos on them. Looks like they can crank out some labels at a good clip. So I should be able to print out 100 labels, zip, 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 and get to work on shipping your foreign comic. It's not foreign to you. You live there. It's foreign to us. But get those international comics shipped out domestically at rates that will compete with the people who are crowdfunding here in the U.S. Cannot wait to get on that. Tonight, however, we're going to talk some domestic crowdfunded comics. And with us tonight, we have Mr. Roland Mann from Silverline Comics. Roland, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
I want to crawl right through the monitor and just read for the next 7.5 days. We've got all of those white boxes there that look just beautiful.
Yep.
And don't worry, I've trained my son that it's a lot cheaper to replace 2 pieces of tape than it is to replace the book that was in the bag. I always put it all the way off and throw it away. And I retape it shut.
I used to use masking tape. This goes back a long time ago, but I used to use masking tape, and over years that stuff would be sticky.
Yes, it does. It doesn't peel off quite as well. I used to sit there and be cheap in college, and I'd open the thing up and try to keep the 2 tabs of tape on there, pull the book out. Yeah, you know what happens when you do that?
Yeah. Yep.
So, but I don't do that anymore.
Well, I'm down to 1 piece of tape on mine. I put the 1 piece of tape in the middle now, and I use Scotch.
Yeah.
Here.
Just that same stuff I've got.
Uh-huh.
In fact, I used to have metal drawers that would sit on these, not these very shelves, but shelves much like them, that were index card drawers. It was 3 across. And I got it at an office supply store going out of business. I'm like, I know what I can do with that. And every time I bought a comic, I'd get a fresh 3x5 card out, and I wrote the name of the comic on the left corner and the issue number on the right, and then writer, artist, story title, events. Filed that sucker. I was so proud.
You had a Dewey Decimal System going.
I did. Now, this was before D-Base 3 Plus, mind you. So if you're not in IT and computers and you're born after 1985, you have no idea what I'm talking about. What's D-Base 3 Plus? Just use Access, man. I had actually, when I got my IT degree, I designed a database because I said, I know exactly what I want my comic book database to look like.
Right, cool.
It was this huge snowflake design because everything was lookup tables because disk space was at a premium.
Right.
You had a 40 meg hard drive.
Right.
And that was big then.
That was huge, yeah.
It was huge. So everything was a lookup from the books, the names, the publishers, all these different lookup tables. And then the core table was like this ID, in this condition ID, this number. But what I could do,
all those rows and arrays and
yeah, and what I could do then, I could write a query because I was a convention guy. We were talking before the show, and I had an Escort, a Ford Escort, not one from the yellow pages.
Yeah,
and 20 long white boxes. There was a disconnect there of taking everything to the convention because it just didn't all fit. But I could see who was coming to a convention, and I could go to the database and I could say, give me every book that George Perez has done interior artwork on or cover artwork on for DC from this year through this year. And I could get very granular with the reports on that.
Nice.
I did it all on paper, and it didn't work in D-Base 3 Plus because D-Base 3 Plus meant 3 tables is all you can create for a database. There is no plus. But when Access came out, I put it in and it worked. And I had a form for an entry screen and it was going great. And And I'm sure I'm like about 17 years behind now on.
I was going to say you should sell that now. That's that sounds like a tool many collectors would want.
I used to give it away. I would just like, you want it? You got access? Here, let me just delete my inventory out of it, and I'll keep all the lookup tables filled, which will save you tons of entry.
Right.
It'll just be a drop down now. Batman's already in there. Neil Adams is already in there.
Nice.
Everything about issue number 232 is in there, except for the quantity that you own and what condition you own them in.
Gotcha. Yes. So someone was showing me. I actually did a live convention this past Sunday. I'm down in Florida, and so we're mostly open. And I had walked. This was later in the day, and I had walked away from I love the dollar boxes, right? I tend to shop there, and the cheap boxes. And I'm flipping through some boxes, and I heard these two guys talking. And he's like, and he was talking about this thing he's got on his phone, for tracking what he has. And then, I'm just really not paying that much attention. But then he says, so Roland Mann is down there, right? At the convention. I can type in Roland Mann and see which comic books I have, and then I can get those and bring them to him. And of course, that got my attention, right? And I'm like, wait, what? Because I heard my name, and I'm like, wait, you can type in Roland Mann. Let me see how this goes. So he typed it in, and he had like X Mutants #1, right? I'm like, wow, that goes back. I'm like, so this is pretty cool. And then I said, so if you add another book, how do you have to manually enter all that in? He goes, well, some of them, I can just use the barcode. I can scan the barcode in, and it will automatically pick it up. And then, of course, I introduced myself, and it was like, "Oh, I have X Mutants #1 in my car. I got to go get it for you to sign."
Dude, I have X Mutants and New Humans over here somewhere.
I didn't do that one. I only did the. So you're probably thinking about the X Mutants, the older X Mutants that Ron Lim did.
Yes.
I didn't come on to edit the X Mutants until the Paul Pelletier run.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I probably have some of those too, mind you, but yeah. And I was looking at this app because I'm not quite sure what happened to it, but I've got the Sortit app, and since there's nothing on the screen here, but this one here is seriously, what the hell happened to everything that was in it? Because now I'm upset. I own the thing, and I know I put a few things in it, but there's nothing there now, so that's no longer a recommend. But this one is, instead of doing all the data entry I was just talking about, it's like scan the barcode, bloop, looks it up. Yep, it's in your system now. You own it. So
wow, that's nice.
It's a shared database. So if nobody else had entered a book, then I take the picture of it, the cover, and I enter all the information.
Gotcha.
And then the next guy comes in and scans that book. He gets my picture.
Nice. That's nice.
That's very cool.
And what's that one called?
Sortit.
Sortit. Yeah, eventually I really need to do something for mine, because all these back here, I used to have all of mine written down in a notebook, and that went out the window a long time ago. So
see, they get the same database. They use it for movies and books.
Oh, okay, yeah.
DVD collection, and your comic book collection would look something like that on the little shelf there. Of course, you can do it like this and get the ratings and everything else and scroll. But yeah, I loved it. I just haven't had the time to sit down. I just got everything sorted, and now I'm like, do I want to unlock everything again?
Yeah,
because I got a lot of books before 1974.
Nice.
Like, there is no barcode on them before 1974. But that's not why we're here. I couldn't talk about that for 7 hours or more. And God knows we need the watch hours, folks. So, if that's what you want to hear, let us know. We'll be glad to do that too. But we are here to talk about Switchblade.
Woohoo!
The graphic might be a little confusing to folk because we've
gone up since I last checked it. Nice.
That's the way it's supposed to happen. You're only
about $300 away. It looks like
$292.
Yeah,
I had to do a couple of gazintas there.
I was going to say that's more math than I can do that quickly. Yeah, I see. I see
like
2.2. I'm like, hey, about 300.
Hey, Dempsey Blackman, welcome to the chat. Thank you for popping in here.
Dempsey.
So you've got a video on here, and since you've gone to the effort of making one, we're going to go to the effort of playing it first.
Okay.
So let's take a look at this and see what's in the video.
Hi, I'm Roland Mann, and I run Silverline Comics, the genre-spanning independent comic and graphic novel publisher. And I'm here to tell you about our first Kickstarter for 2021. It's a double feature flipbook. We've done a couple of those before. You probably remember them. Hopefully you do anyway. Well, this is our third one, and it features Teen Beetle #1 and Switchblade #1, the remix volume. So here's John Crowther to tell you about Teen Beetle.
Hi, my name is John Crowther. I'm the writer and creator of Teen Beetle. It's a 3-issue series I'm doing with Silverline Comics. It tells the tale of Blake Northrop. He's a teenager who has acquired the vitamin 2X. You might remember from the old Blue Beetle days. He's acquired it, and he has used it to transform himself into Teen Beetle. However, he's also awakened some evildoers, such as Dr. Mantis, who are set on grabbing that vitamin 2X and using it for their evil means. So hope you follow us. We've got some great art by Del Barris and some great colors by Jerry Lou Smith. We're on Kickstarter, and hope to have you aboard.
Thanks, John. But wait, there's more. On the flip side, we've got Switchblade #1. It's the remix. Some of you might remember the Switchblade was originally published in 1997 on newsprint. Yuck. We have digitally remastered every page, and the issue has been digitally colored by Aidan Belcher. So what is Switchblade? Well, let me tell you.
Switchblade is the story of Scott Nathans, just a regular guy, but he's fed up with the failures in the justice systems. Seems like a lot of us today, right? Scott, who's a boxer in New Orleans, is pushed over the line when a local elementary-age girl is raped and murdered, and the killers get away, all because of a paperwork error. Scott takes it upon himself to see that justice is done and becomes a bit of a hero to the locals, but a vigilante operating outside of the law, and thus wanted by the police.
And remember, both of these comics are completely finished. We could print them and ship them to you today, but that's where you come in. We need your help to get the funds so that we can print them and ship them to you. So, give us a look, pledge if you can, and if you can't pledge, you can still share. Tell all of your geeky, nerdy friends who like to read comics, go check it out. You can vouch for us, right? You're already familiar with Silverline, you can vouch for us. So thank you for your time, and remember, make mine Silverline.
Very nice. Very nicely done.
Thank you. The lighting there makes my hair look so white. I looked at it. I told my wife, I'm like, man, look how white my hair looks. And she goes, well, you know, you do have some. I'm like, yeah, but look at it right here. I mean, it's not white.
It looks silver. It looked branded.
There you go. Silver hair for Silverline.
Exactly. So I think I actually remember Switchblade.
Really?
Well, when you showed the picture, I'm like, if I haven't seen that book, I've seen that printer because
gotcha. Right. Yeah. Well, I printed at Brenner, which, you know, a lot of people use Brenner in the 90s. I printed some at because so this version of Silverline is what I've been calling 3.0, right? So Silverline 1.0 existed in the late 80s and early 90s as a packager. Stephen Butler was my partner, and we put a lot of books together, and we would package them. What's up, Aaron Berg? And so then we would move them to Malibu Comics. We would get them to Caliber, mostly to Malibu. And then I got hired by Malibu. And then after Marvel came in, bought us and shut everything down, I started Silverline back up. So I consider that as Silverline 2.0. And then, of course, that was in the late 90s, which was a wrong time to be doing comics. I lost a lot of money, called it quits, and then started Silverline up again about 2 years ago. And so this is Silverline 3.0. So Silverline 2.0, I used Brenner. I used Morgan Printing that was they were in Canada. A lot of independents used them back then. But yeah, you know, I mean, the paper is just one step above toilet paper. And, you know, it drank that ink like crazy.
Right. I want to just say one thing to say. The opinions altered by Silverline here have no impact at all with our friends at Alterna. So,
I've seen some of their newsprint, and it's a far better newsprint than what was used in the 90s. So, it's
there.
What's that?
A lot of what you're showing there would remind me a lot of the X Mutants, the New Humans, Southern Knights,
right? Yep,
that stuff.
Got a Southern Knights right over here.
We've had Henry Vogel on the show actually.
Oh yeah,
trying to talk. We tried to talk him into doing an omnibus of it, and he's trying to get a hold of David Kraft,
right?
The print files.
Oh,
somebody who can convert all the print files, and
gotcha.
That's where that's at. Now I'm gonna have to bug him again.
Yeah.
In fact, he did a short story for us. Everything's packed. I keep wanting to grab things like I can do it. We did an anthology last year. Last year. We just started this year, so wow, time flew.
Yes.
The Devil You Know was an anthology of horror short stories about people's encounters with the devil, and he submitted a story for us, and we're like glad to have it.
Wow.
Carried the book. No. we had 20 really good voices in that one.
Nice.
It's funny, Roland. Just like the first time we did an anthology was three and a half years ago, and it was a fantasy thing called Gods and Services. And first time we'd ever done a book. It was going to be cheap. It was same thing we did with Devil You Know. It's like couple of bucks and a copy.
Right.
And we did that. After we had said it'll be like 5 copies, and someone's like, "Why don't you give them money and a copy? It'll be cheaper for you," which it was. And more incentive because they actually get money. I'm like, oh, yeah, well, if it's cheaper for me anyway, then yes, absolutely do that. And we got like 40 submissions, and we published 10 of them.
Wow.
Like, okay, when I do, The Devil You Know now, I experience, I'm going to give myself an extra month of reading time
right.
and wait. Well, it turns out if you actually publish a book and pay authors the first time, it's like chumming the waters. And we had about 170 to 180 submissions.
Wow.
All of them were really good. And I was like,
wow.
Past my 10, I'm like, I don't want to do a 17-issue anthology or a 17-book. I want to round it out. And I had it to 19, and it was like the day that I was closing the reading. And an email came in. I was like, I'm just coasting. It's another throwaway. And I'm into it like 3 paragraphs, and it was Damascus Mintzmeyer's A Night at Satan's Palace. And it was like, the story was a lot like Grumpy Old Men meets From Dusk Till Dawn. And I could see Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau on the roll. And I just started to email back to him. My first line was, "Damn it, Damascus, I'm supposed to be resting. It cost me an extra $20 now." And the book increased by another 40 pages, and the spine artwork was already done, and I had to readjust it.
Oh my goodness, yeah, spines are a pain.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. You've done paperback. You've done trade paperbacks then.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, and that's. I was just telling somebody yesterday that I said, doing trade papers. I said, it's because they were asking me what the difference really between that and the floppies were, and I said, really, there's not that big a difference in all the file prep and everything is just. So the only thing that gives me grief in the trade papers is the spine, and it's trying to figure out how to get everything exactly because the spine width is determined by how many pages you have, and that's not uniform based on printer because all the printers will use different sizes papers, and so it's like it's fine. Now they'll help you and they'll walk you through it, but it's a pain in the butt.
Yeah, if you get a different pound paper going on with that, then it's going to it's amazing how that 1,000th of an inch adds up.
Yes, yeah. So they're obviously that's kind of where our market, our industry is going to collections and graphic novels and trade papers, and so I think you kind of got to know how to do that.
Well, the first thing we're going to ask you about is the book you're not doing.
Okay, but Teen Beetle.
Teen Beetle.
Okay.
because you are pulling elements from the old public domain.
Yes.
Blue Beetle, but obviously you can't use Blue Beetle because as a legacy character, that's a DC comic thing.
So you can use Blue Beetle, right? You can use the original Blue Beetle. Now, what DC has, and you have to be careful of, is they've got the trademark on that name as it looks on the cover. So you could actually say Blue Beetle, but now you got to keep your font very normal, no logo, any kind of thing like that. You could say, hey, here's my story, and it's da featuring Blue Beetle, but no logo, right?
Right.
But what you have to be very careful of doing is that anything in your story has to be kind of should be able to directly point back to the public domain, and you can't do anything that DC has done with the public domain differently, right? So DC has taken Blue Beetle and done their own thing. You can't do anything that DC has done with the Blue Beetle that's not in the public domain, if that makes sense. If DC did it and it's in the public domain, it's okay. But if DC did it and it's not in the public domain, you can't do it because they own that. Yeah, it's really weird.
So if they've added something to it, like, we gave them a Beetle car, you can't use the Beetle car.
No, not unless it's in the public domain. You cannot, because they will come get you.
Yeah. Yes, they will. So I just think that public domain heroes are making a comeback, though.
They are, and I'm not 100% sure on because when I was at Malibu, I edited the Protectors, and the Protectors are all Golden Age heroes that R.A. Jones took and revised them and brought them in, and it was pretty successful for a little while. But to be honest with you, I'm not 100% sure of the appeal of that, because I like to see new stuff. Show me something new. Don't take something that's old and just because don't we kind of complain about that when the movies do it? Oh, that's just a remake, and and I know it. I have friends that do some public domain stuff, and and for the most part I enjoy it, but it's like I don't really get why that's such a thing. It's like don't do Blue Beetle, do the Chartreuse Beetle. Give me something. Give me something different. Give me the bluish Beetle.
I think people just miss some of the characters, especially if it's a public domain character that's not being used, and they're like, "Oh, this is a great character. Why aren't we, doing anything with that?"
Yes, I agree.
And then, of course, you could make a new character, but and I may be completely wrong, but I think the psychology of it is that, the heap has a built-in audience.
Right. Yes. Yes.
6
there's,
people maybe, but
there's absolutely a lot of that. There's a lot of the idea that, you know what? There are already a whole bunch of fans of this character, this public domain character. So if we do it, we're going to go get all those fans. And, maybe there's some truth in that. I don't know. I don't know how true that is. I did a Miss Fury miniseries for Malibu in the 90s. It did well. But I don't know how much of that was because, Lorene Hayne did some really sexy covers, or, because it was a public domain character. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
I had, from those convention days, 2 8x10s from Lorene Haynes that were signed. The Rogue and the Batgirl that she did.
Sweet.
Had past tense.
No.
Things disappear in moves.
Yes, they do.
Things disappear more when your wife packs the room.
I know what you mean.
So,
yeah.
So I need to run into her at a convention and say, "Yeah, you still have those? I need to replace."
Yeah. Unfortunately, Lorene Haynes has passed away.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, she was a very early mentor of mine. So
she was talented.
Yes. Very much so. I met her and Dave Dorman when I was first breaking into comics, and they were both incredibly nice and really for the first couple of years of my career, that both of them that were very mentory. It wasn't an official capacity, but they were very gracious with their time and advice. So I will forever appreciate Dave and Lorene doing that.
Well, Teen Beetle here has a different costume, obviously.
Yes.
It looks like there's a Kirby influence on,
Yeah.
on the whole thing.
Yeah.
I can put it back up here now that I've refreshed the page. Add to stream. There we go. And I guess the thing that kind of threw me was that his name is Teen Beetle, and he looks 27.
Yeah. You know, this is now you're going to get us into talking about artists, aren't you? There are. So he's got a little bit of a Shazam thing going on, right? So he's a kid in the book, and he takes the serum, and then he becomes what looks like an adult, right? So there's a little bit of a Shazam thing going on there. There is a picture of him, a panel of him in the video when I talk about him, and he does look more like a kid there.
Oh yeah, I've seen the transformation. And I'm assuming he knows how to make this this X12 vitamin thing now. Not just didn't find a bag of them and like, okay, I can do this 17 more times.
yeah, he's figured it out, and that's why the bad guys are after him. And that's kind of our link to the original stuff, the formula.
You know, it's interesting. In a way, the perception of how no one thought about taking a drug.
Yeah.
Our Man, you had Teen Beetle, you had the Black Terror. They were all just like, I got to do something. Pop my pill.
Ant-Man, Giant Man, right?
Underdog.
Yep. They're just taking pills and they're
popping the speed, and then they're just a little Coke in it, and they're revving to go.
Look, Ma, we're encouraging kids to pop pills so they can do all these superheroic feats.
and I guess the only time I really thought about that was when DC got around to Our Man having an addiction.
Yeah.
And I always have a problem with Our Man anyway, because it's like, my powers last for an hour. I will call myself Our Man. You just told all the bad guys last.
Yeah. All I got to do is fight you for 59 minutes and I'm good. You mentioned the Kirby thing. Del Barris is the artist for Teen Beetle, and he's been around since the 70s or 80s. But Del's been around for a long time. So it's certainly a comic with a very classic look. I think it's I think it's the kind of thing. Both of these books, I think are the kinds of things that fans who collect or support crowdfunding projects, I think is right up their alley. There's a lot of people who are dissatisfied, and I don't know how you are, but there's a lot of people who are dissatisfied with kind of Marvel and DC. And I was always a Marvel zombie, right? I mean, this whole thing back behind me, most of that right there is all Marvel. I do have DC and stuff, but I was always a Marvel zombie. But I get dissatisfied with what they're doing today, and I think this is the kind of thing that I want to see. This is the kind of thing I think a lot of people who support crowdfunders are going to be interested in.
It really is, and I talk about this all the time with indie creators. Is that we have this double-sided argument going on. On the one hand, we're saying that comics is dying, comics is dead. It's just there will be no more comics, and by next Tuesday.
Yeah.
And then on the other hand, and what I see is this comics renaissance. This is a bigger independent boom than what we saw in the mid to late 80s.
I agree.
And crowdfunding has made it possible because, we've seen lawsuits come and go because, people had a publisher and then, publisher got talked to by somebody else. Now I can't get a publisher. It's like, the reason the lawsuits dropped to me is that it's not going to matter to anybody anymore because nobody needs a publisher. You are your publisher.
Yes, absolutely.
And people are making a success out of it. And if the big two fell by the wayside tomorrow, nobody would really care. The retail.
No, I was going to say I think none of the fans, but there would be a few, of course. But I think for the most part, most of the fans wouldn't care because if you follow sales figures for through Diamond or through Comic-Con, John Jackson Miller's Comic-Con, you see that they're not really being ordered by the comic shops. And we know that there's not enough digital copies being sold to really offset that, even though that they want to kind of suggest that to you. So I think the biggest hurt is going to come from comic shops, which is why I'm always advocating comic shops to look. You got to diversify your content. You can't be real. And they already kind of do that with toys and other stuff like that. But when it comes to comics, look, if you still want to sell comics, you've got to look for some comics that you can sell to replace the dying Marvel and DC.
Yeah.
Because if they go away, then the comic shops are going to go away unless they can sell a lot of toys. But there's a lot of really good independent content out there. It's just that how do independent creators get their content in front of the fans? How do you get into the shop? I mean, Diamond has been a gatekeeper for a long time into the stores, and it's been hard for independent creators to get into the. Now, I haven't tried in years, so I don't know how hard it is today, especially now that they no longer have DC. I would think they would need content to help replace the losses, from DC, but yeah, I mean, it just seems to me like the time is right now for independent comics to make a move.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because guess what, Roland?
What's that?
I showed you the labor printer. Yeah.
I was going to ask you about that. That was a question I had, because I heard you kind of mention that. I'm like, whoa. I want to hear more about this. What are you talking about?
Okay, so criticalblast.com formed 6 years ago as a review site for movies, comics, television, interviews, all that good stuff. And then, since we reserved all the social media names, we had the YouTube channel. We weren't really using it, and we started seeing live streams. I'm like, let's start doing that. And for the last 2 years, we've been building it up. We've got our 1,000 subscribers, but if you haven't subscribed yet, please do click and hit that bell notification, because we never have enough of them. But we don't have the 4,000 watch hours. We have 2,860.
Wow.
Checked it this morning.
That's a bunch, though.
So when you go to bed tonight, kids, remember to go to Critical Blast, or youtube.com/Critical Blast, pick a playlist, hit play, mute it, and then go to bed.
Yeah. Just give us some hours, right?
Exactly.
That's great.
Not content with that, and certainly not making any money with it, because not monetized.
Yeah. Right.
We went into publishing. Now, let me tell you, when you start publishing some books, you can really start to spend some money.
Yes, you can. Yes.
If you spend $1,000, you might make enough back to only spend $100.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, you could spend $1,000, you might get $200 back.
Very expensive hobby, but
yes.
But in doing all of that, I have all these. If you look at my live streams, Roland, because I need your hours too, so please go look at it.
Okay.
I'll talk with creators, and I'll be like, hey, you should do a thing like this, and then another one will give me an idea and say, hey, why don't you do something like that? And I was talking with somebody in the UK, and I forget who it was, and I started to do hey, you should, and this little voice in my brain said, you should shut the hell up and do that yourself. Instead of giving all this stuff away for free. So, but the concept was, if you've checked out crowdfunding and you've seen a crowdfunded book that you liked, and then find that, it's coming from Canada or the UK or Australia or India or China or Japan, wherever, you can see that it's a $10 to $15 book with $25 to $30 in shipping.
Right.
Yeah, sucks totally.
Yes.
So what Critical Blast Logistics is doing is we work with any outside the U.S. crowdfunder, and before you launch, we figure out what it's going to cost you to ship your books to us, because it's cheaper to send one box than it is to ship 100.
Right.
And then we break it down, bag it, board it, Gemini mailer, tape it shut, put a label on it, and send the tracking number to your purchaser, and add that to the cost. We have a per unit cost that we know for that, depending on the weight. We have a whole scale. Take what it's going to cost you to ship a 25-pound box, divide that by 100 comics, whatever that comes out to, add that to our cost. That's your shipping cost on your crowdfunder, and it generally comes to under $10 for shipping at that point.
Wow.
Which is going to be a game changer for a lot of these foreign markets who are now looking at using our service.
So I was going to say what somebody like me needs, because I'm in the U.S. and I I print in the U.S. I need somebody who can give me shipping to Europe and Australia. Because I've had to turn down. Yes, right. Because I've had to turn down several people in Europe that say, "Hey, will you ship to Europe?" Because I don't offer it on my crowdfunders, as part of it. But if they email me and they're like, "Hey, I really want the print copies," and I email them back, I'm like, I'm happy to do it, but it's really, really pricey. If you really want to, do it, give me your address. I'll key it in. I use Pirate Ship. I'll key it in, see how much it's going to cost, and then you can just pay that. But it's going to be pricey. And I've had a couple take me up on it, but most of them say, okay, well, I'll just get the PDFs,
Exactly. And, I know people have used fulfillment services before, and it's gone screwy because they, treat them like magazines or catalogs. And, we know comics. So we know how to handle comics and take care of the comic book.
Yeah.
But the thing that I'm looking at bigger than that, and we were talking about, retailers getting into this. I know my comic shop will look at crowdfunded books.
Yeah.
And bring them into his store. And a lot of people are now doing the retailer tiers where you can buy multiple copies at sort of a price. But if I have people shipping from the UK here for me to disperse, if I can say, if you're doing this, overprint and overship so that there's a leftover stock. In case you go in demand, you don't have to ship more. We've already got them. But if I have 4, 5, 7 current accounts consecutive, now I've got inventory that I can say, hello, U.S. comic book retail shop. I have an inventory of import, hard to get, crowdfunded independent comic books. And oh, by the way, you can pick them up a la carte and ship them to you from the U.S. in one box, like a mini diamond, so that you don't pay $10 plus $10 plus $10 plus $10.
Right.
For shipping. That's going to put them on shelves.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fantastic. That's great.
I told my local comic shop guy this today for the first time. He's like, sign me up for the first one on your catalog because I want that. He's big into promoting indie books. He can't promote them all because, again, first of all, $30 shipping for a UK book.
Right.
We're making up. Sometimes it's 20. But then, still on a per book basis, he's got to really jack up the price on an import book to be able to resell it and make something of his own.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Make it worth his stuff. Yeah. We, I've had retailer tiers, I guess. I don't know, for like the last 6 Kickstarters I've done. And for the most part, I would get 1 or 2. Not always the same ones either, but I will get 1 or 2. I do have one local one to me that will pretty much support any Kickstarter that I am involved with, because what they'll do is they'll get them and then I'll just go down to the store and sign them and support, of them getting them. But I've had a shop in Virginia order some. I had a shop down in Kissimmee order some. I would love to get more involved with the. I would love to have a list of comic shops that aren't afraid to support crowdfunders, because I really do believe that when the industry hurts, they're going to be the first to go. Because I've got the conventions are were almost non-existent last year, but I've got the internet, I've got shows that I do, and so I've got a pathway to fans. And if Diamond and Marvel and DC shut down, that's not going to hurt me at all, but it will hurt stores, and stores were good to me as a creator when I first started breaking in the late 80s. I've got a soft spot for them. So I would like to see, them obviously carry our books, but we practically, our retailer tiers, I practically give the books away. Cause I just want them I want them to have the books. Yeah.
I don't want comic shops to go away. I like hanging around in them. I think that, I bet if DC and Marvel, for whatever reason, went the way of the dinosaur, Diamond would all of a sudden find a way to get crowdfunded books into their system.
Oh yeah.
Even if they, came up, did the same thing I'm doing, or came up with some modification of the same.
Right.
They would start cutting deals with people.
Yeah. Yeah. I've heard of somebody. I heard a story one time of a bunch of Canadians, independent creators got together, and someone up in, I don't know, Montana, way up north, made the offer, said, look, you guys ship all your, kind of like what you said, you ship all your stuff to me. I'll take it, drive across the border, and mail them from the U.S. Post Office for a fee, just because of the outrageous shipping cost.
And that's definitely another way to do it. If I lived closer to the border, I would.
Yeah, right.
Here's what's going to get you to ship to the U.S. Have them at your door.
Well, I've even looked into the idea of trying to find a printer, a print-on-demand printer in those locations. I love my printer here. I'm not ready to give them up, but if I could find someone in the UK who could, do the same thing that my local printer, that I use Kablam. If I could find someone in the UK who could do the same thing as Kablam does, then I would use them to fulfill my UK orders.
Yeah, and a lot of people in the UK are doing that kind of a thing with Kablam, which is a perfectly reasonable alternative.
Absolutely.
What it doesn't let you do is sign the book,
right,
or include special prints or things like that. So that's the kind of the market that I'm looking at.
Yeah,
that would be nice. By all means, just print it locally to where you're shipping, and have them ship it out from there.
Yeah,
save all kinds of boodles of money.
I think it's fantastic that you're doing that, and I think that I think we hopefully will see more things like that as guys like you try to service some of the international markets that are there. Well, and creators.
Yeah, and I think they're going to, if this is successful, and only doing it is going to find out whether it's successful or not.
Right.
Then we'll see if we get people in the UK and Australia saying, "Hey, I'm going to be the hub for here to do the same thing they did." I'm not talking about franchising anything out. I don't want to bother with that kind of business. But hey, talk to me. I'll tell you the model. I'll be very transparent with everything I've got going on. It's not rocket science.
Yeah.
So that's Team Beetle. That's nothing to do with. We haven't talked about what you're doing at all. And we're 45 minutes into the show, Roland. So
it's all right. It's all part of the same. It's all part of the same Kickstarter. So John's a pal. Team Beetle's a good book. I think you're going to enjoy it. But Switchblade's the one that I wrote. So. My Switchblade pitch. Well, you kind of heard it. You kind of heard it on the video, but yeah, my pitch for say again.
Switchblade kind of reminds me of the Mark.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. You did freeze up a bit.
Oh, I remember that. I think I've got a slight delay going now.
That's possible. I think you do.
Which is really weird because you're responding to. Yeah, I do too. Because you're responding to what I say about 10 seconds after I say it. I have my story is I have a loaner computer because my computer. Say again.
Just keep going. Just keep going.
I think I may be having internet issues. Okay. So computer from my work, I teach it. And so I had to go down to the offices and get, I had to turn that one in, and they've got me one ordered. Fortunately I didn't lose any data because I pretty much use the cloud to keep all my important stuff in. But they've given me a loaner, and this is, it just chugs and chugs and chugs. The fan is just constantly running, and I'm like, it struggles to keep up with me, and that's saying something when my computer can't keep up with me. But yeah, so Switchblade. Hopefully, I think it might have caught back up. It kind of looks like it has.
I think it has.
Okay, good. Yeah, I think it has to. Excuse me. I I forget. Was there a specific question, or you just said tell you about Switchblade?
I said it reminds me of the Mark.
The Mark, yeah. I do remember the Mark. I don't think it's the Mark. But now I haven't read the Mark since like 1987. Switchblade is actually a character. I think I was talking about this the other day. Switchblade is a character I created back in junior high. Now back then he was more Wolverine-ish. He kind of morphed into something different the more he went on. But he's very much a street level, vigilante. I always tell people, if you like Batman, if you like Daredevil, that's the kind of, now he doesn't have, power. Daredevil has the powers, but he doesn't have the powers. A little bit of Punisher, in him, in that, he's frustrated with the justice system. And so he seeks to do what he can as a normal person. He seeks to do what he can to make sure justice is, and no, he does not say justice is served, but because someone else said that, and I don't want to. And anytime I say that, I always think justice is served. No. But yeah, so that's that's kind of his story.
And he does it with knives because there's no forensics on a bullet that they can do to say, oh, this guy was stabbed to death. Must have been Switchblade.
Yeah. It's funny though. You talk about that because his name is Switchblade, but if you look at the various art that the artists do, he never carries the same set of knives.
It's just something sharp.
Yeah, it's just a cool looking blade.
You've got a serrated blade,
right? Yeah, he's got a Bowie knife there,
Yeah, exactly.
Which looks really cool. So don't get me wrong, it looks really cool, but yeah, that's not a Switchblade.
And now, and from the description too, for the origin, I mean, this is a really dark book. I mean, when you start talking about my origin comes from somebody who got off of child rape,
right?
That's not. I was bitten by a radioactive.
Yeah,
yeah.
Now, obviously, I try to make sure all of my books are PG-13. My own thing is like, look, we can go to the movies and watch the Avengers and Captain America and Spider-Man. Those are all PG-13 movies. That's kind of what I try to keep personally. The theme is darker than the actual content. There's a little bit of blood in this one. Most of the nastiness happens off panel. There's an instance where he shoots a guy, but that's done off panel, so we don't see that happen. I think maybe one of those pages are on there.
Shoots a guy? That's going away from theme.
Yeah, he took his gun from him. But yeah, so yeah, it is kind of dark. I mean, and again, I think really it was sort of created in a time where I know a lot of the folks that I'm from Mississippi and don't want to get political at all because I strive not to do that. I think there's a lot of people who are frustrated with justice system, and people from all walks of life are frustrated with the way the justice system works. Whether you think that there are injustices, or you think that there are inherent problems with the justice system, I think people are frustrated with the justice system.
It's been that way for decades.
It's been that way for decades, yes. And I think that kind of what made this happen is that there's always that idea of, well, if the justice system's not going to do it, well, why don't we just do it ourselves? And because everybody knows that dude right there was the one who raped and killed that little girl, but because there was a paperwork error in the system, he got off. Well, where's the justice in that, right? I mean, there's this is his thinking. There's no justice in that, and these creeps get off because of an error. So because he has this ability, he's like, well, you know what? I can go and track these guys down and make sure they pay for the crimes that they committed. And in his eyes, he's not doing anything wrong. He's making up for the failures of the justice system.
Now, is this a 3-issue series?
It is.
And that's all it went back in the day.
Correct.
Okay, so are you going to go further with it, or was his tale told?
No, I'm probably going to go further with it. In fact, I'll tell you a secret. And
We're live right now, right?
I do, yeah. but none of my savvy cat and mouse readers have spotted this yet. He was actually in the first issue of Cat and Mouse, my relaunch. So, what's that?
I know I have Cat and Mouse somewhere over here.
So yeah, he's in that first issue of my relaunched Cat and Mouse, but no one spotted him yet. So yes, I do plan on revisiting him and giving him a some new life as well.
Yeah. He'd be kind of a, I don't want to say a one-trick pony, but you know, when your name is your theme and it's what you do, it kind of reminds me of the Tick.
Yeah.
When they were introducing all the different characters to him in the bar, and who he was like, "I'm Hand Grenade Man. What do you do? I've got a hand grenade."
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like Green Arrow. Obviously, Green Arrow was also the one that's the one thing I do, but I'm really good at it.
Right. Yeah.
So, you know, if he can throw those knives like bullseye, and it's like, you know, right there, then okay.
He's a boxer. He's a boxer, so that's what he does. You know, as that's what pays his bills. So he can fight. He is a fighter, but he just happens to be also good with the Switchblade.
And it looks like the mask kind of changes every now and then too.
Yeah, it does. I've got a guideline that I send the artist. I'm like, here's what he looks like. And you know, sometimes they do their own thing. You've worked with artists long enough to know that, right?
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah.
You
get back to go out.
Writer as being an art director.
Yeah. So you know, you send it to them, and you're like, well, okay, yeah, that's close enough.
I don't want to tell you to redraw it, so we'll go right. So you got you've got the Kickstarter exclusive covers here that we just looked at. You got the Teen Beetle one by Ben Dunn, Ninja High School.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. The Antarctic folk, and then this one is Mike W. Belcher. Why do I know that name?
Because Mike is the guy who did. I'm taking it down. Mike's the guy who did Man in the Mask.
Okay.
It's his own thing. He writes it, draws it, letters it. His son colors it. And
not the man, the Man in the Mask.
The Man in the Mask, yeah. So part of the reason that or his son, part of the reason I got him to do the cover is his son is actually the one who colored. Because you know we went in and digitally remastered all the artwork, and his son Aiden is the one who went in then and colored all of our issues.
So you made a connection. Yeah.
Yes.
And take advantage of it.
Yes. Yeah.
So these are variant covers that are also available here.
Yes. So the ones I can see there, as long as you don't scroll too quickly, the variant A, that's the Teen Beetle, and I've got to update that because I do have those colored now. The Teen Beetle variant. Oh, I see. I have the credits there. Yeah, is by Peter Clinton, and it's inked by Barb Kalberg, you should probably know her name. She's been around a long time, and it was colored by Jeremy Kahn. The Switchblade cover that is not in color there is penciled by Wubba Fett, inked by AJ Cassetta. And Roberta Conroy has she sent me the colors. I just have not updated this file yet.
That is not his real name.
You know what? I don't think it is, but that's the way he communicates with me. So, I asked him one time. I said, "Is Wubba Fett your real name? Is this what you want to use on the credit?" He goes, "Yep, I want to use Wubba Fett." I'm like, "Okay."
Star Wars has a lot to answer for. And you got the B covers, and by the way, these are flip books. So when you see covers, you're getting one book, two covers each time around.
Yes, absolutely. We have done flip books in the past, and so like this is one of the ones that we just we did a few months ago at Friar Rush, and then on the other side we had Bloodline. So yeah, the one, the Teen Beetle cover there on the left, the B version is, it's done by C. Michael Lanning, who is doing, he did the pencils, and then it was inked by Thomas Formonti, and and the colors, again, the colors are done, and it was done by Jeremy Kahn. See, Michael Lanning is doing, he and I've got a project going together that hopefully will be kickstarted here soon. Hang on a second. I got a Zoom going. I got to get out of this.
Oh, you're in two meetings at the same time.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, see, Michael Lanning and I are doing working on a miniseries, and oh my goodness, his work is fantastic. As you, I mean, obviously, as you can see by that cover, but we're doing a book called The Rejects, about a bunch of rejected superheroes, and it's a lot of fun. He's just finished the first issue, and so now we're just got to get it inked and lettered and colored, and hopefully we'll be kickstarting here in a couple months.
Very cool.
Yeah,
be looking forward to that. Now, you keep saying kickstarted. Do you have a preference for your crowdfunding as far as Kickstarter versus Indiegogo versus whatever else is out there?
Kickstarter is just all I've ever done, and so it's kind of what I'm comfortable and familiar with. Plus, they keep teasing me with add-ons. And if they'll ever do that, then I'll be a sucker for a long time. I plan to do Indiegogo, but my research, and I could be wrong on this. I'm sure there'll be 3 or 4 people who yell at me and tell me I'm wrong. My research has kind of shown me that the Indiegogo books that do better are bigger books. And what we've got here is just it's a regular size floppy, kind of that you'd go into the store and buy off the rack.
Sure.
And what's that?
I was agreeing with you. It's a regular size. Yeah. And
so my plan is once we have a series finished, I will take the trade and I'll go to Indiegogo with that, because I know it's a completely different market over there. And I've had people tell me, you're leaving money on the table. You're leaving money on the table. You got to go to Indiegogo. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but I've only got floppies right now. So I want to wait till I have a thicker thing that I can take them and say, look, here's this. And we're pretty close. I've got 2 books. The first, the volume 2 of Cat and Mouse is almost finished, as well as Shameless. This being, let's see, I think that one's right there. Shameless, which is written by Brent Larson. It's almost done. So once those are completed, I'll go to Indiegogo. Now, you said others. If there are others, I'm not aware of them, and so.
I'm sure that somebody's building some sort of platform,
and I would be game to look at it, because, as far as I'm concerned, this is kind of like a store for us, for the creators. This is a way that we're able to get some of the product out to consumers that we wouldn't normally be able to do it.
And see, that's, I think, what Indiegogo does that Kickstarter doesn't do is, when you have successfully crowdfunded, you can choose to go in demand.
I know.
You're longer than your 30-day limit. You can stay open for, I don't know how long, but I know you can stay open. Continue to sell books like an online bookstore. For me, I don't crowdfund anything, but as a consumer, I will prefer Indiegogo over Kickstarter. I have backed Kickstarters before. I backed one 2 nights ago, and I have a note now on my monitor that says, "Hey, you backed this Kickstarter. You'd better damn well make sure there's $50 in your PayPal account on this day, because they're not going to take it out until then."
That's right. Yeah.
Whereas with Indiegogo, it's like, I've got money. I'll back you right now, and I don't have to think about it anymore.
Yeah. Well, that's something, because I fill out survey after survey from Kickstarter, just because I have Kickstarted so many, and that's one of the questions that they ask about is do you want to see Kickstarter take the money quicker? And mine is always, give me add-ons. Give me add-ons. Let me do add-ons. I want add-ons. I want add-ons. I don't care about your little mailing thing. I want add-ons.
And Indiegogo has add-ons.
I know. So
you can check out and then say, hey, all this other stuff that was in these other bundles, do you want any of these little pieces of them that you put on our cart?
Yeah. I am going to do Indiegogo, but a lot of it is, I'm for the most part, I'm very much a one-man show, and so a lot of it is just finding clock hours to do a lot of this stuff. excuse me, but I'm going to do it. It's just that when I pull the trigger on it, I don't know. But I have no bias one against the other. It's just that I haven't found my way to Indiegogo yet. I do back them on both platforms though. I've backed Indiegogos and I have backed Kickstarters. So
you'll be there someday.
Yeah.
So
here we go up, right?
Some of the finished interior artwork here is still to be seen. Here's little Timmy drinking the bottle of strange drugs,
taking his drugs. Yeah,
and his heart grew 3 times that size. which I don't mind the fact that he grows big. I think that's cool because again, that whole Captain Marvel thing.
Yes,
and the Fly. The Fly was the other one I was thinking of because depending on which issues of the Fly you get, he's either already a grown man who turns into the Fly, or he's still the young kid who turns into the Fly. He's been doing it for years. Yeah, but he's this big. He's like, and me, you can call me Teen Beetle. Like,
yeah, right.
Really?
Yeah. I should note also, by the way, that both of these comics are completely finished already. We're not, except for those a couple of covers up there that weren't colored, which are colored now, and I just have to update the files. It's all done. The books are finished, so we're not having to wait on artwork. As soon as the crowdfunder is done. Yeah, see there.
You leaving money on it? They said it.
Yeah, so I you know what, and the thing about it is, again, I know that I've got to get over to Indiegogo. I just have not found the hours to make that happen yet, but yeah, the books are done, so we just gotta they're not printed, they're finished, right? They're ready to print. And so we're just running the campaign to give us the money to print it and ship it out. And I generally fulfill roughly 30 days after the end of the campaign. It takes me 2 weeks to get funds from Kickstarter. But I usually send all the files to my printer before that, so that as soon as I get the money, I just zap them money and they get them printed up for me, and then I'm usually shipping them out a couple weeks after that. So
just manual labor after that point.
Yes, and I recruit my family here to help me with that.
Oh yeah, I plan on hiring my boy too. I was like, I'm going to see if he bites it. I'm going to hey, you see those bags and backers? I'll give you a quarter for every one you put back.
Don't say hiring. Shh. My son will hear that. I tell him I feed him.
Well, here's the thing. If I hire him, then I can open a 401k in his name or an IRA.
Ah, there you go. Okay.
At 13, 14 years old, and now it's like, just know you can't have it till you're 65, but when you do, all those extra years.
Yeah.
So we have the initial tier here, which is pledge $10 without a reward. I don't know if anybody ever takes those. I'm sure somebody must.
I get a lot of the $1 pledges from people who are trying to, hey, here's $1. We just pledged to your account. Pay us $50 and we'll market your Kickstarter campaign. So, I get 5 or 6 of those a campaign. So they give me $1, so that's good. But yeah, a lot of them they'll pledge so that they can send you that message that says, hey, I pledged to your campaign, pay me $50 and I'll market it to 300 super backers. And
wow, okay.
Yeah.
Apparently I'm doing this all wrong then, because I'm like begging people to come on and let me market their campaigns.
Yes, you gotta go pay them $1.
Well, I'm marketing, but I'm not getting 50.
Yeah,
I don't even get super chats. Come on. There is a tip jar below, way down in the description for PayPal. I actually had one person hit it. I'm like, it's almost there, like as a joke. It was my guest. He hit it. He dropped $10, and I'm like, holy cow, dude! Thank you.
Nice.
You don't have to do that. You'd much rather earn our keep. But he'd just come into some money. He's like, you're letting me on their show.
That's nice.
Pledge $8 or more. This is the digital double.
Yes.
You get so what's a digital double? You get your PDF copy of both.
Yes, you get the PDF copy of both of them, and it is not a flip. It is not a flip PDF because that would be irritating, right?
Thank you.
Yeah, if you had to try to hold your thing upside, yeah, right, because you have to lock the image in. So so it's not a flip digital, but it is a digital double. You're gonna get both books in a PDF format.
And you'll still get your name on the thank you page. Now,
Yes.
is that in the digital book or in the book, or
It'll be on it'll be in the Kickstarter edition of the book. Yeah, and the digital as well. But now the regular editions, they will not have the thank you page. So the thank you goes in the Kickstarter edition of the book.
got it? So yeah, 15 people take that. A lot of people like the digital.
Mhm.
I always didn't, but
Well, like I said, I haven't calculated this, but a lot of the folks who take me up on the digitals are for Silverline are internationals. People in Germany and Denmark and Australia who are like, yeah, I'm not going to pay you $50 to ship me a $18 book.
yeah, and we have viewers too that work remotely, and they're like,
Yeah.
we got a guy who works up near the Arctic Circle in the tundra doing oil exploration.
Wow.
He's like, I can't bring my white long boxes with me, and I need something to read. So
Yeah.
I'm like, you've talked me into it. These are
Yep.
valid comic book now.
Yep.
$18 though. That is the book itself. This is the digital. You get the digital double and the flip book and your name on the page. So this is your basic tier right here.
Yep.
$18 for the book. Now, is this as a flip book? Is this a 22-page story and a 22-page story, or is it an 11-page story and an 11-page story?
It's a 22-page story and a 24-page story, actually.
So it's
Yeah.
You
It's
just
gonna-
said it was too small to go in Indiegogo, and now it's a 42-page book.
I know. I realized that as soon as I added them up. I'm like, well, crap, that's 48 pages. That's an Indiegogo book, isn't it?
Yes. Launching on Indiegogo next week, folks.
That's right.
Now this is the Kickstarter only cover, I'm guessing.
Yes, it should say that there.
What it's on.
I'm trying to read your screen. It doesn't, does it?
No, 'cause here I saw, okay, feature variant cover A. I'm like, well, wait a second, what cover was this one?
Yeah, I got to go in there and edit that because that does need to say the Kickstarter cover because the others, it should be the one below it says variant A, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, that is the Kickstarter cover, and then you've got the variant A and the variant B.
And I'll point out that, the Kickstarter exclusive cover is the same price as the variant A and the variant B.
Mhm.
If you're going to be exclusive, Roland, kick
Yeah.
it up a buck.
Well, we thought about that, but then what we're really trying to do is if you'll scroll down just a little bit,
A and B.
all right, whoop, one more.
Or whatever.
Right, there you go. Right, and we're trying to get people to get the signed ones.
I
Right?
see.
So what we really want folks to get the Kickstarter exclusives signed. John doesn't live too far from me, so it's going to be very easy for the two of us to just have a signing day. We'll get the once we get the books from the printer, we'll arrange a time. He'll come down here and we'll just sign a bunch of books. So that's kind of where we'd like to push the folks for the Kickstarter editions is to go ahead and get the signed ones.
Okay. Again, this one does not say Kickstarter exclusive cover on it. You might want to add that.
Yeah, that's actually frustrating me right now because I was fairly sure I did that.
Oh, I hate finding things out late.
Yeah.
The book I told you about, The Devil You Know.
Uh-huh.
When I finally got it all formatted correctly and it was right page size for what was printing it on, and I shipped it out to everybody who was an author on it, and I'm sitting back and I'm like just flipping through it, and I'm like, I love this book. I love this book. This is a great story. This is a great story. And the header above each, like every time you went into a story, it was like when you turn the page, the header would be like title of the story, author's name, title of the story, author's name, change the story, title of that story, title of that author's name. Way deep into the book, new story, title of the last story, title of the last author's name.
Oh no.
The next two stories, and then it fixed. I'm like,
No, yeah, but I will say this. This is, of course, this is on the website. So, but I will say this. This is one of the things I like about print on demand. That if you've made a mistake, all you've got to do is go and fix that page, resubmit it to your printer. And I don't print 1,000 copies like I used to in the 90s. When I printed it at Brenner, I had to print 3,000 copies. That was my minimum print run. So I'm not stuck with 2,000 copies with an error. If I print something here, I might be, because I tend to print in 20, 25 copies. If I print, well, then I'm stuck with 20, 25 copies. And I usually just give those away, or something like that. Use them as an incentive or something,
I didn't have any inventory, and I did send a print file in, but it cost me money to send a new print file in. I'm like,
right,
please, come on. But it was done. It was worth it. It's a great looking book. So $25 is the Kickstarter exclusive cover, double feature, signed, plus you get the digital. You get your name on the thank you, and you get digital extras.
Yes. Yeah. And what those are, and we kind of leave them just. I don't specifically say exactly what they are because they kind of vary with each Kickstarter, but usually. What I do is I include my script. I include copies of the pencils. I include thumbnails if the artist has done thumbnails and sent them to me. I have a tendency to, actually, this is the handwritten dialogue script for Rejects #1, right? You can see that. And I have a tendency to handwrite all of mine. So I'll scan these, and that goes just to part of the digital extras. So. Yeah, that's the kind of thing that we like to include on the digital extras, and a lot of times we'll toss in a video or two from the creators. So it's just extra, just fun extra stuff.
All right, now for $45, this is your completest. For those who want it all, this is what you get.
So you get the Flipbook Kickstarter exclusive. Then you get the individual copies of cover A of both books and cover B for both books. But now those aren't flip books. Those are the individuals. But you get the Kickstarter as a flip book, right?
Okay, so when you get cover A and cover B, they're not flip books. They're
not flip books for this tier.
Oh, for this tier. So what are they?
Yeah, they're just regular floppies. They're just the single issues.
Okay, so you're getting the Teen Beetle Switchblade flip book.
Yes.
You're getting
Kickstarter
Teen Beetle cover A. And then Switchblade cover A.
Yes.
And then Teen Beetle cover B and Switchblade. So you're getting 5 books.
5 books.
5 individual floppies. One of which is 48 pages. The others are 22-page standard floppies.
Yes. Yes, that is correct.
Is that also, if I was at the $18 tier, was that also split, or were those flip books with those covers?
Those were all flip books at the $18 tier.
Gotcha. Okay, making sure. So this is a completely different version of the books that we saw up above. So you must get in on the want it all just to get individual non-flip books, because. Hey, that'd be something that I would get into, because when it comes to flip books, we've discussed this. What was it, last year? No, it's just an hour ago.
What box do you put them in, right?
Yeah, what box do you put it in? Which one's front facing?
Yeah. And, and I've had, because I didn't always do this, but a couple of Kickstarters back, I had someone tell me, it's like, why don't you have all the covers available? Because I didn't. They were just, they were just the different tiers. And like, I want all the covers. And I'm sitting there thinking, I really didn't think somebody would want all the covers, but this I had a couple email me and say, I would like to get all the covers. And so I went ahead and added in that tier, and I've been including it ever since. So, and you can see there's a couple folks that want it.
There's a couple folks who want the Rochelle tier too, and we don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
Or who she is.
Rochelle was a series that Antarctic Press published Rochelle. There have been 2 volumes of Rochelle, and I forget who published the second one. Oh, and I'm hating it right now. It wasn't me. But Anarchy Press, Ben Dunn's company, published the first volume of Rochelle.
Everybody in crowdfunding knows Ben Dunn's company for one reason or another.
Right. And then someone else published a second volume. And so John's had 10 copies of the trade for the first volume, and then he had 10 copies of the individual issues of the second volume. So we're putting together, all basically you get the first 2 volumes of Rochelle. And because of this, actually, we have decided that Silverline will do a 3rd volume of Rochelle.
Go for it.
Rochelle, the Teen Cockroach.
The what?
The Teen Cockroach. It did pretty well in Anarctic Press.
I see the team upcoming, the Teen Beetle and the Teen Cockroach.
Yeah, absolutely. He used to, the first time I met John, he was still doing Rochelle. This goes back, a couple of years. And he had all these doggone plastic cockroaches on his table that they look real. You'd walk by and you'd go, ugh, right? And he would go, hey, you want a cockroach?
I hate those people. $75, original Switchblade, page 9. So you've kept that safe and secure for all these many years.
I have it handy enough to show you. I have a handful of that was, you said page 9. Here we go.
That's what it says here.
Page 9 right here. And as you can see, it's already signed by both Leonard Kirk and David Rowe, who happened to ink this page. So so there's page 9 and there's page
16.
Yep, 16. I think that one's already gone, isn't it? Maybe not.
Nope. Okay. One left. Oh, that's a nice page.
Yeah. Yeah, there's that one. And then there's page 3.
I was going to say that's not show. Well, page 3 might be the one. One of them's gone, I guess.
Okay.
Because I'm only seeing 2-page listings here.
Well, then there's page
9 and 16. Well, you got those for the next Kickstarter or the Indiegogo.
Yeah, or the Indiegogo. And then this is page 8. So, whoop. So yeah. And as you can see, they're all already signed by both Leonard and the penciler and the inker, Leonard and David Rowe. So, that's pretty exciting as well to have that original art.
And then after that, you got a $150 tier.
Del Barris, yeah. $150 is Del Barris's standard convention commission. Excuse me. And so if you were to see him at a convention, that's what you'd pay him to do. But for our Kickstarter, you would get, not only would you get his commission, you'd get his commission, but you're also going to get the books. So
that is very cool. Now, you got to, how big is the commission? I mean, I'm guessing it's like your typical sketch pad, but
yeah, like a backing board kind of thing. So, yeah.
Backing boards are perfect because they fit in the shipping box.
Yes, they are. Yes. I had an artist one time had this big drawing pad and he sent them to me and I'm like, okay, the next ones you do, don't do that. Just take out a backing board, draw on the backing board. I'm like, because those are easy to ship.
Yes. And they're nice and stiff and they frame real nice. And
Yep. I could put it in the bag with the comic book.
I've got a couple that are like that.
Yep. Yeah.
So I'm trying to scroll back up to the top here. That's the other thing I don't like about Kickstarter is that it greens everything out when I try to hover over it and say, we're looking at this. Well, we're looking at something behind that big block.
Yeah, there should be on the left-hand side. If you, I usually try to put the beyond the interior art. There should be images that show what the rewards are. I think.
Yeah, a lot of people do that, and of course I should have just gone over here. It doesn't tell me who's taking what, but this is great here. Yeah.
Oh, and the early bird's already done, so I need to get rid of that. And see that there you go. That one says Kickstarter exclusive covers, and maybe that's what I was.
Yeah, it says it here. It just didn't say it where people would actually click.
It did not. So I got to see if they'll let me fix that.
So here it is, $18. This is and it says on the cover, Kickstarter exclusive edition.
Yes. Yeah.
And then this is cover A, which this is a flip book.
Yep.
But if you get I Want It All, these will be 2 separate books.
Correct.
And these will also be 2 separate books in the I Want It All, but 1 flip book here on this tier.
Correct. Absolutely. Yep. So.
And okay, yeah, this is much clearer here, where you say this is the signed one. These are the covers you're getting.
Yeah.
Signed. $45 completist. Boom, 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 boom. Now here's okay. $75 for the original art, and you're showing all 5 pages that you listed here.
Yeah.
So that was different than the one over here. It just showed 3 and 16 at that point. But you could probably ask for which.
The reason it did that then is because the other 3 are gone.
Okay.
The 3 have been claimed. Then is what it is.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and you'd have to scroll down to the very bottom of the list with the right there. Yeah, you'd have to go to the very bottom, and you'll see one that says "all gone."
There they are, all gone.
Yeah.
I saw this one that said "all gone." I'm like, well, there's no point going down there.
Yeah. And so that's the artwork book just below those. So yeah, so 3 of the pages are gone. Then I got to go cross those out on that image.
Gone. And here is everybody who's worked on the book: John Crowther, Dale Barris, Jerry Louis Smith, Hector Negrete. Hey, I know that guy.
Yeah, look at him.
Roland Mann, Leonard Kirk.
Yeah.
He's definitely been around a while.
Yes.
And
done a whole bunch of stuff.
So where does Switchblade fall into his career?
It falls in right after the Malibu stuff and just before his DC work. This was just before he went and made big waves with Supergirl, I think.
Okay, yeah, that's where I know him from
Yes.
the Peter David days.
Yes. Yeah, he I want to say he did about 6 years of Supergirl, something like that.
Yeah, because Peter David's cursed. He did all those issues with the Hulk with Gary Frank. Then he went over with Leonard Kirk. Peter David is cursed to work on a title, and no matter what title he works on, no one will have a damned last name among them all. First names only, all the way across the board. Nah,
I didn't think about that. Yeah.
He made it well before I did. He did that when Gary Frank joined him, and I forget who left Hulk, but it was the same situation. He's like, still no last names. but
Chuck's been around for a long time. Chuck's done an awful lot of stuff for me personally, and when I was an editor at Malibu. So he's been around a long time.
And he's done some GURP stuff. I know that's a very popular.
Yeah.
And David Rose, the inker, Aiden Belcher doing color. This guy's going to go places. Okay, I'm going to bet that this is probably Aiden Belcher's first professional coloring work.
It's not his first. His dad is the one who does Man in the Mask, and that did the Kickstarter exclusive cover for us, and he colored Man in the Mask for his dad. So technically, this would be his second.
Okay.
Yeah.
When he's a professional, like 30 years from now, this will be like nobody cares who the first time you colored something, but still.
Yeah, they'll look back on this and say, hey, that's some of his very early work.
Yeah. And that's the other thing that crowdfunding is so cool for, is that I've had a number of shows now where the person I'm talking to is 12 to 15 years old.
Yeah.
I talked with a child in St. Louis area.
Oh, you're being serious?
His dad, yeah, I'm totally serious. He kick-funded Super Cat, which is at my local comic shop, because he was locally area. Got the sticker on the back here. And his dad helped him with the stuff, but it was, he said, if this is what you want to do, you write it, I'll draw it. They went to the printer and it came out. Trying to think. Wow. A couple of other people I've talked to that are in the same boat. But yeah, it's just.
Well, and this is one of the things that digital print on demand allows. What? Yeah, Bridgetal. Is it Kissimmee store or Coliseum of Comics? No, the Coliseum of Comics is the one who backs almost all the things that I've done. But the one in Kissimmee was oh shoot! I see the little logo. It's little toys, little crap. Oh shoot! Let me see if I can find that out real quick.
Herrenberg knows my history. It's Mavericks by Noah McTutis. He was 15, and Archie, Joe Archie, is a young kid too, whose father has done some comic books, so he's following in the family tradition.
Oh, let's see. All right, I'm gonna turn my camera off for just a second. I'm gonna stand up and look.
We'll see an avatar.
Yeah. Oop, I didn't put an avatar on there. Let's see here.
Well, don't worry about setting one now. We'll just you can do that for your next show.
We got to get it. I'm searching the boxes now.
I've been fighting the temptation to go open my C boxes and pull out my cat and mouse issues. Actually, I don't think it's an issue. I think it's like a trade paperback. It was a pretty thick one. The question was also posed whether or not the story of a teenage, if Rochelle was the story of a teenage cockroach's journey from Milan to Minsk. Which I think someone's getting a little Kafka on us there.
Trouble's Little Sister is the name of the store in Kissimmee. So
hit him up, Herrenberg. I know that's why he's asking, because Herrenberg's got an independent book too, as well as a movie or a live action series that accompanies it. And by the way, no, Dave Dyer does not have the DVD yet of that. I just saw him today. And he's like, "Hey, yeah, tell Herrenberg that no, I don't have the movie yet." so it's a multimedia experience. They got the comics and then got the movies. And what's really cool about the comics is you've seen these comics that have these like stiff covers, like 180-pound paper.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Well, Herrenberg book Herrenberg is like that. You turn the cover and it's like this flip, flick, flick, flick. You can just there's no way you're ever going to get that thing out of mint condition. And then you turn page 1 and it's the same weight.
Yeah,
it's like it's almost like a baby's cardboard book all the way through, but a comic book. It's very thick paper. I'm like, this is nice. This is not going to tear or bend.
I actually have me a copy of a Herrenberg.
You really now?
I do.
Well, that makes all three of us.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah. Forgot why I was. Oh, because Herrenberg asked. Yeah. Yeah. So Coliseum of Comics, though, in the Fashion Square Mall, has carried all of. I want to say all, maybe not all, most of the ones that I've done. And I don't have any because they're exclusive to the store. But when the stores order 21 or more copies, which those stores have done, they get their store logo on the cover of one of the books. They don't get this cover because this is Kickstarter exclusive, but they get one. I think they got for Kalis 2. I think they got this cover here. And then what we would do is we would put their logo on the corner,
nice.
The store logo. Yeah. So, again, 21 copies, I can print 21 copies with their logo on it, as long as they send me their logo. And then they've got an exclusive store version of it that they can sell as exclusive if they want. Because, yeah, I mean, it is. So, and yeah, so you can, I actually had we've got a local fan media group here called Orlando Collector Deviants. And he supported the Kickstarter, and I was going to do the signing at Coliseum of Comics. And he said, will you pick me up a copy of Cat and Mouse 3? I'm like, you've already got Cat and Mouse 3. He goes, yeah, but I want the Coliseum of Comics edition one too. I'm like, but you've already got the other editions. He said, yes, but I want the one with Coliseum Comics. Just pick it up for me and I'll pay you back.
Okay.
So,
It's not even a different cover. It's just got the logo on it.
It's just got the logo on it. Yeah. So it was Steve. When Steve tells me what to do, I say, yes, sir.
Do you ever do that thing though, where they're like, not only does it have their name on it, but it's actually a completely different artwork cover?
We haven't done that yet, and mostly just because, to get a whole new artwork for a cover, it means I've got to get a whole new cover.
Which there's $1,000 gone.
Right, and so it's now I will say this: if a store ever came to me and said we want a cover that only belongs to our store, and I said okay, but you got to buy it, and they said we'll buy it, and then I'm like, okay, well I'll do that. But I can't afford to do that for a store that's going to order 20 copies of a book.
Yeah, you need a golden apple or something.
Right, and if they want to, but if any of them, I'll do 20 copies if they want to buy the artwork. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Because that's the big holdup there is like I can't go and get that artwork. And just for and don't I say just for 20 copies? I don't want to sound like that because I'm very appreciative of the 21 copies that they get. I'm super appreciative, but I can't get a unique cover piece of art just for that.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Yeah, unless they pay for it.
And that's the holdup for a lot of crowdfunders who are the writers.
Yeah,
they're not also the artists. They've had to pay in advance to get their crowdfunder going, so they're digging themselves out of a hole. They're not trying to make money; they're trying to get money back.
And get money to afford the next one.
Harwenberg, thank you. I'll pass that on to Dave. I hope he didn't throw it out either. He did have Harwenberg #2 on his shelf because he was showing it to me today, and so I've got to go back and pick that up when I pick up my other stuff. Roland, we've gone long. What other? We can go as long as you want. I don't care. You got nowhere to go. But what other projects do you have that you're getting ready to possibly kick off here, crowdfunding wise?
Man, yeah, I'll just tick through a handful of them if that's all right with you. I have this year, 2021. I have already on my Silverline calendar. I've got the dates for 6 Kickstarters slotted. Yes.
Now, is this all going to be like trade paperback collections of things that are done?
No, the many of them will be brand new stuff. There may be one or two that's like Switchblade, which is a digitally remastered version, but majority of it is going to be brand new stuff. So I'll just kind of tick through some of it and let you know. So I don't know that it's going to be in this order, but it's going to be kind of close to this. A lot of it is, again, because I won't kickstart a book or I won't crowdfund a book until it's finished. And I've got a couple of them that are really close to being finished, but they're not finished yet. So I can't say for sure.
Okay.
But possibly coming up next, I have Twilight Grim #2. Which is done by, if you've been reading comics for a long time, you'll know these names: R.A. Jones and Rob Davis. R.A. wrote Protectors for me back when I was an editor at Malibu. He and Rob Davis did Scimitar together in the late 80s. Yes, I am working on Marvin. I see the comment there, so I apologize. I am working on John on Sniper and Rook. Trust me, drop him a line. I drop John a line about every 7 to 10 days. I'm like, dude, I need Sniper and Rook. Dude, I need because John and I made a handshake about a year and a half ago to bring Sniper and Rook over to Silverline, which is something I'm very excited about, right? Because John's
know them.
Oh, John's got like 12 or 13 issues published of Sniper and Rook, and I'm like, dude, I want to make. Let's get these colored, introduce them as a Silverline book, and then you can just pick up where you left off. We'll create a new volume, Sniper and Rook, volume 2, #1, and we'll go from there. And so that's actually one of the ones I'm hoping that we do this year. But John's got to get moving. So so Marvin, get on him, because I'm on John. I'm gonna say daily, but not quite daily. I'm like, dude, Sniper, come on, we gotta go. So that's one that I hope to do, but that's probably still a couple of months down the way. So back to Twilight Grim 2. We had Twilight Grim 1, which I think is I've covered it up with my poster. Which, by the way, this is the first ever Silverline poster. I've never ever done a poster, and we did this in our mystery boxes at Christmas time, and they've been a big hit. They were available for the first time on Sunday. We sold a couple of posters on Sunday. I'm very excited to have a poster that is a Silverline poster.
That should be a stretch goal.
What's that?
That should be a stretch goal.
Yeah. So here's the problem with a poster in a Kickstarter, right? So I can sell, because we figured out we're going to sell them for $10 mailed, right? And they'll come in a tube. The problem with my Kickstarters, I mail everything flat, right? So it means I'd have to fold the poster, which I will do. I don't mind folding the poster, but a lot of people, if they're going to get a poster, they don't want their poster folded twice and with their book. So yeah, we've talked about that a little bit, but not sure exactly what we're going to do unless we just up it to where it covers the postage and the tube as well, But anyway, so Twilight Grim number 2. We really just lack a cover and some lettering for that one, and it's done. Another R.A. Jones book is called White Devil, and it is penciled by Jackson Rennick, who has done some Silverline stuff in the past. He did a little bit of work with Marvel in the 90s, but not a whole lot. It is inked by Chuck Bordell. I'm sorry, this first issue is actually inked by Mike Keeney. It is being colored by Phil Leon as we speak. Phil does a whole lot of streams throughout the week. And so that one's pretty close. Then we have Divinity number 2. Divinity number 2. Well, my poster's covering a lot of my covers up now. So Divinity was Barb Kalberg's, who's been an industry inker for 30 years. It was her first creator-created book. She came up with the concept and the story ideas, and we recruited R.A. Jones to help her with the script because she's never written before. But the story is hers. R.A. just kind of helped her put it in, into a comic script format. It went over, Divinity number 1 went over really well, and we are about 1/3. It's penciled and inked, and it's about 1/3 colored. So it's coming right along. There's the rejects that I mentioned to you a little bit earlier. C. Michael Lanning. He has completely finished the pencils for the first issue, and that's pretty much where that one rests. We got to get it inked and colored and lettered. Excuse me. So it still has a little bit of ways to go, but
is that reject with an X?
No. we talked about that a little bit, but we're like, I don't want Marvel to be coming after me, because you know how they are with that X stuff they've got.
Yeah, just weren't good enough.
Yeah. Then I've got one called that we're calling Silverline Team Up, featuring the Champion and Miss Fury. Yep, as I mentioned, I wrote the Miss Fury miniseries in the 90s, and she was a very fun character to work with. This book has been, say again.
And she's public domain.
And
so
she is public domain. That's right. Dynamite might think they own her, but they don't. She is very much public domain. So she is. She's going to be a strong character in this story. Champion was around. He's been around as a character for a while. He was around in Cat and Mouse. He played a role in the Silver Storm miniseries that I wrote. He was actually even in the Demon miniseries that I wrote. And so he's been around for a little bit. This is the time for him to kind of to take the spotlight a little bit, but Miss Fury comes in and she takes some of that spotlight as well. That issue has been completely penciled by Peter Clinton, and it looks fantastic. Thomas Flormonti is well into the inks. And we've even got Roberta Conroy is doing the colors. She's colored a couple of pages. She covered a page. I should show you. She did this really cool thing. Let's see. Yeah, let me Let me see if I can move some of this stuff over here and get it out of the way. I got to show you this. She did this really cool thing for the cover that there's no way we can do this in print, but it looks cool to show you because we're going to try to figure out how to make this work in digital. And my computer, I'm getting a beach ball of death. If you have a Macintosh, you know what that is. Or if you've ever seen Mac, that little spinning beach ball of death.
Yeah.
So let me get the folders open before I share my screen.
You can share just the application too, so that you don't accidentally show stuff you don't want to show.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's once I get in here, there's really nothing that I'm too worried about. All right, let's see. Share.
Yeah, waiting for that Dynamite Miss Fury 2. I did back that hardcover.
Yeah, it's hard because that's the one that had the Billy Tucci cover, wasn't it?
I don't think Billy Tucci did the cover.
Okay.
I think Laura, yeah, he didn't do the cover yet.
Okay. Let's see. Share screen. Okay, yeah, share screen. Google Chrome would like to record this. I guess so. You can do it if you want to. Share screen 2. Yes. Share.
So while we're
seeing anything,
I do not see it coming to me yet. Nothing has come over here that's show this up here. George Peter Gatsis, whose name I was going to bring up to you, because George does 3D prints of action figures, or at least of maquettes of characters for a lot of crowdfunded folk. So, if you were ever tempted to do, a 3D stand-up of Teen Beetle or whatever, this is the guy you want to talk to on Twitter. And he'll show you videos of the ones he's done for people already that look excellent. Nice. He wants to back this, but the $60 tier says you get the trades and number 7 and number 8. But in the list of items, it doesn't say anything on number 7. So can you get a clarification on that?
I gotta go look at my computer slogging along. I gotta go look at 7 and 8. I don't know 7 and 8. We don't have 7 and 8 of anything.
$60 tier. I don't know what tier that is. Let me go further down.
I don't. Man, my computer.
There's $60 tier. There's 50 to 75.
I think you may be looking at a different campaign because I don't think I have a $60 tier.
George, help us out here. What tier? What's the name of the tier that you're looking at? Maybe it was $60 after this. You got shipping built into your stuff, though, don't you?
Well, it gets. I think it gets added when you do it. So no, Google Chrome will not be able to record the contents of your stream until it's quit later. I don't want you to record. I just want you to give me access. Did that work at all?
Nope, it did not come over.
Still not. Google Chrome has lost permission. Follow these steps.
Yeah, it's the first link in the description. Well, yeah, I know you're going to the campaign, George. I want to know about the tier you're going to. Which tier, man? Yeah, you should be okay. Mouse, come back to me, Mouse. This is the campaign you're looking at, right, George? So what I need to know is which of the ones over here you're looking at. Maybe it was the very top one. Was there like a? No, that was 8, and then 18, 18, and 18, and then 20. 20, by the way, is a retailer pack, which is very cool.
Right.
You can get lots and lots of copies. It says pledge US $60 or more. Huh. Did I put the wrong link in this description? I think I did because I got to hear from hitting the link in my description.
Okay.
Fist of Justice. Fist of Justice. Fist of Justice. Control F.
Fist of Justice. Yeah, that's not
You
me.
are down here on a recommend. This is after the campaign that we're on. Fist of Justice is not what we're talking about. This is somebody else's campaign. So I can't help you with that one. we're talking about the Silverline one.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know that one. That's a different one. Almost got this.
At least we know where we're seeing it at. So I'm not going insane.
Yeah.
Hey, there it is.
Yeah, it's trying to open. So,
at least the share came through.
Yeah. So as soon as I can get this thing to open here, you can see it's thinking about opening. You gotta see. It's just she did this, and we're like, and she shared it with us, and we're like, oh, that is so cool. It'll never print. It won't print like this. We know it won't print like this, but it's still cool what she did. With the cover. This is you guys are actually getting you're getting the very first ever look at this.
Exclusive.
We haven't shown this before. But this will be one of the covers to the Silverline team up with Champion and Miss Fury. If this thing will ever open for me. Let's see if I can try this again.
I'm refraining from so many Apple jokes.
Oh my goodness. Well, this is a work supplied computer. So
all forgiven.
I would buy a PC if it were my money I was spending. But work supplies this, and so I don't know why this thing isn't opening. So we'll just sit here and look at you can look at all of my files, and you can see how I file them.
This is interesting.
Yeah. So you can see here, Pete has got all of the pages penciled. This is all the pencil pages here. 22 pages. I told you it was done. What's that?
All we have to do now is hope that you can open these files up when it's time to print them.
It's I think this has got to be a Photoshop thing because it's trying to open, but it keeps getting locked on Photoshop for some reason. And I don't know why. Again, this is a loaner computer. I've had it for about 5 days. The first day I got it, they installed my email, my work email. I come home and realize that's the only thing they installed. I could not even get online to grade. I did not have the proper permissions in the stuff they had to install. I could not even get online to grade anything. I don't know why Photoshop is not responding, it says. So let me force quit.
George said to hit the space bar when you highlight a file.
See, part of the problem, I'll try that, but you see, these are all 0 bytes. It's because they're all on the cloud.
Oh.
All right, so
issue of
holding the space bar, and I'm gonna. Well, I'll show you what came up. It's just too slow here. All right, so what's coming up is this. Because is this gonna open? What?
Oh,
maybe.
I'm seeing what's called the throbber. I see the description. ESP.
Well, so there. Yeah, that's not gonna get it. Okay, so let me try it again. So the Photoshop finally quit. So let me see if it will let me open with Photoshop. And see what that does. I'm not going to touch anything. See, my hands are right here. I've clicked open. Whoop, it's thinking.
I see it getting paler.
Yeah. So hopefully that'll. Yeah. Yeah, this has actually turned to be embarrassing. People watching this go, what a crap computer he has. Yeah, you're right. And this is
but
what.
the files in the cloud, so you know they're safe.
Yeah.
Have you opened it on this computer at all since you maybe it doesn't have
Photoshop.
Photoshop?
So I see the Photoshop opening screen right here. So that's happening anyway. The two little pink flamingos. If anybody has Photoshop. Yeah. So I apologize for this. This should not be this difficult. And in fact, my old computer before it blew up, it was not this difficult at all. In fact, I kind of wish I'd kept my old computer because it was, even though it was about to blow up, it was far more woo pig. It was far more cooperative than this one.
Yeah, I drive
okay,
computers
so,
into the ground before I replace them.
You do what now?
We have a review coming up later tonight for The Kid Detective from Sony.
You do what with them?
Oh, I drive them into the ground.
Woohoo! Nice.
I bet we're 10 seconds
Oh, really?
behind each other again.
Yeah, I think we must be, and it's got to be my computer. I bet.
I bet it's that Photoshop stuff.
Mm-hmm. Which is incredibly frustrating. All right, see, there's Photoshop. Oh, here we go. I know you can probably see my spinning wheel of death up there. No, you just see my cursor. You don't see my spinning wheel of death, do you?
I don't see the spinning wheel of death yet. So I'll just
see
say,
my cursor.
We got Decent Dead Planet. We have Future State The Flash, where it looks like they've redeemed Wally once again into being a murderous tyrant. Wally West can't catch a break. I bought this thinking I was getting Wonder Woman. No, this is just a Wonder Woman cover on Future State's Superman of Metropolis. That's what happens when you put the title of the book on the spine sideways in small print. DC.
Well, that's crap.
Yeah. And then I got Kara Zor-El Superwoman, Future State. And then because there was nothing else that came out early this week that I cared about at all, I picked up on the back issue rack the Dark Multiverse Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Nice.
I love Crisis. I love George Perez. And I want to see how they can F that up, I almost said. Screw that up.
Yeah. Yeah, so I haven't touched my cursor, and even though you can't see it where my cursor is up there by Photoshop, it's just a little spinning beach ball.
I can tell that it's popping your words up, so it's
I'm just sitting here watching it, and I'm noticing on the screen.
Yeah, it's eating up your bandwidth.
Yeah, very frustrating. And I don't know how to fix that.
No real way to fix it. If it had been preloaded, then it'd been.
Yeah.
We didn't know that's what we were going to do.
No. Well, let's see. While I'm seeing if that will load, I know that we're kind of on a delay here. I'll see if I can think of some of the other projects. We've got a project called Wolf Hunter, which is written by Tim Thiessen, who is a former student of mine at the university I teach at, with pencils by A.J. Cassetta and inks by John Martin. It's a World War II era spy story. So I'm kind of excited about that, a little something different.
Cool.
Friar Rush is completely inked. All we need to do, and lettered. All we need to do is get that one colored, and it'll be ready. Let's see. Mentioned Rejects, Divinity.
Is Silverline a shared universe?
Not technically, no, but we've been talking about trying to figure out how we can make that happen, because I think that would make us stronger. I think that would make the books that we do a little bit stronger. Some of our concepts are like, oh, well, this is the only superhero in the whole world, and so part of what we're doing is that, well, how do we play into that? How do we play into that? Well, this concept was that this was the only hero, but yet there are these other heroes. How does that destroy the concept, or can it enhance? So we're talking about it, because again, I tend to think that it would make for a stronger world, a stronger label, but we haven't completely decided that yet. What I can say though is that Sniper and Rook, because Marvin was asking, Sniper and Rook are coming over to be part of Silverline. Sniper and Rook and Cat and Mouse will inhabit the same universe. We are going to see that those worlds exist together. Of course, Champion and Miss Fury exist in the Sniper, in the Cat and Mouse Sniper and Rook world. Silverstorm exists there. Switchblade exists there. As for the others, it's still one of those things that we're like, okay, well, let's see if we can't figure this out, how to make it work. Because the other thing is, these books are creator owned, and so how do you kind of navigate the waters of creator owned content in a shared universe?
Yeah, creator owned and shared universe is a totally, because you don't want to, you can run in some traps there. It's like, hey, you put my character in your book. I talked with Neil Gaiman about that way back in the day when I was like doing videos on the phone, when I was doing interviews on the phone and then typing them up later from recordings. It's like 3 hours for every 20 minutes of words. So I quickly got out of that. Thank YouTube.
I guess so.
But and I kept the poor man on for 45 minutes, which I thought was horrible at the time. And I'm looking at 2 hours now with you. So but I was on the phone 45 minutes. Like, yeah, I got to change tape sides here.
Yeah.
I don't have that problem anymore. But we talked about the Justice League issue where Sandman showed up in Justice League, and he's, because we were talking about creator owned. He said it's ish, creator owned ish. Technically, DC was supposed to give me credit for any time they used him in something, and they called me up and they said, we want to put Sandman in the comic. He's like, yeah, sure, go ahead and do that. And then he saw it and he's like, yeah, but it didn't say, it didn't have the credit for me and Mike Dringenberg and Sam Keith. And the editor, the editor of the JLA book says, yeah, that's not our policy to do that.
Really?
Kind of credit. Yeah. Now this is before the Schuster and Siegel lawsuit wrapped up. Obviously, we see that on everything where super something appears now. And he said, and the issue apparently, he said, okay, that's fine, whatever. If that's your policy, that's good. And then like about a few months later, they came back and says, yeah, we'd really like to use Daniel again in another story. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry, that's not my policy. So he didn't give permission for it to be used again after that.
Wow.
Now, of course, he's just using it wherever they want, I'm sure. He's probably got some sort of deal worked out. At least it's not like, the Alan Moore thing where it's like, hey, Watchmen are yours as soon as we quit printing it. We're never going to quit printing it.
Right. Yeah. Well, and that is something that creators have to be aware of now, is that I remember signing deals in the late 80s and early 90s, and the rights didn't revert to you until it went out of print after, I want to say, a year. They varied, but it's like, hey, after it's been out of print for a year, the rights revert back to you. Well, the problem now is that you have all the digital printing. It's never out of print.
No, so, it's always available.
So you have to be, as a creator, you've got to be very careful that someone doesn't word their contract with you like that. And then you say, hey, you're not printing the paper anymore. They're like, yeah, but we're still available digitally on, as a PDF or a Kindle book on Amazon. So it's still in print. So we still own it.
Well, I bet somebody could make a legal argument there that print is not the same thing if it wasn't specified digital in the contract. You saw the same thing with DVDs when they came out. It's like, hey, we're going to, put out a DVD of this season of some show that was in the 70s. And, doesn't even have to be the 70s. I got my DVD of the Birds of Prey series from WB. And from the moment episode 1 plays, I'm like, that's not the theme song to Birds of Prey. All because they did not license the music for digital distribution. It was broadcast only. So it's like, the Amy Allen song that was at the opening theme was completely replaced. The Tori Amos and the Tattoo songs that were in the season finale, not there. Totally replaced with something else. They did it with Married with Children because they didn't get Frank Sinatra's, estate permission. So the early Married with Children DVDs were a musical that sounded something like it, but wasn't Love and Marriage. So contracts have changed since then, obviously, but it's still a fairly recent phenomenon.
Yeah, you have to. You do have to be real careful. I'm just now getting a pop-up message. Dropbox would like to access your files.
Oh.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Tried to get you to do this 10 minutes ago. Remove? No, don't remove.
Probably had to download Dropbox.
No, I've got it. Thankfully, it's still showing up on there, but it's still, I don't know. I'm a huge multitasker, and it's just, I think my multitasking is blowing this computer up, and I've tried to go in and shut everything off, but it still seems to be heating this thing up.
Well,
this laptop is burning up.
we will see Champion and Miss Fury when everybody else gets to see it.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. It's really cool. To describe it, what she's done is there's a sign in it, and she's made it blink, and it looks so cool. And so we're like, if we can figure out how to do this for a digital version, we're gonna do it. I'm not sure how to make that happen, but I'm gonna work on it to see if I can't figure out how to make a digital version of it blink, because it looks very cool.
Print a lenticular cover.
So I've heard lenticular before, but I'm not really sure what that is.
Okay, lenticular is that really stiff cover that you can scrape your fingers across, and it sounds like you're on a record player. Zip, 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 and you angle it, and the picture changes depending on the angle you look at it.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I know what you're talking about.
It'll be like, green, red, blink, 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 blink.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I know what you're talking about now. I did not know what those were called. Yeah, I guess I'm delaying again on you.
No, you're fine.
Okay.
All right. We will look for that to come out when you get it. We're going to see a lot of Silverline coming out on Kickstarter, and apparently we're going to start seeing a lot of Silverline coming out on Indiegogo. So
yes, we will. So I'm excited because, like I said, there's we got a lot of stuff in the works, a lot of stuff pretty close to happening, and a lot of stuff that'll be done here in a month or so, and so it's very exciting because we're having fun, we're making comics that we like to do, and so far the feedback I've been getting is that the people who are reading them are also having fun with them, and from my perspective, that's really what comics are all about.
Yeah, you read stuff that you enjoy. And don't read stuff you don't enjoy, and hopefully they'll get the message.
That's right. If you don't like it, if you don't like it, stop buying it. That's why I say, stop complaining about book X, how terrible it is. Stop buying it. They will get the message, and they will fix book X, or they won't. But go use that money on something else. Give something else a shot. If you don't like book X, go give something else a shot, and you might like it.
That's what I really love about my comic shop is that, I go in there. He knows I'm buying stuff to review for the website. He knows I look for #1 issues. He's like, well, this one was a crowdfunder. He's like, this White Widow he gives me. I got White Widow through Retailer Push.
Cool.
Several independent books I got because he's like, this is a brand new company. This is a brand new company. This came out. I'm like, okay. No money left for DC and Marvel. Sorry, guys. I don't really feel bad for you.
I don't. Yeah, I don't feel bad for them either.
And,
I'll send you a message when we're done here, and I'll see if I can't get the name of your retailer.
Yeah, I'll take care of you on that one.
Cool.
I got to contact him tonight anyway. So, all right. Well, Roland, thank you for coming on the show tonight. Appreciate
Thanks so
it.
much for having me.
We still got three. I did nothing for you tonight. You still have $298 to hit goal and 10 days to do it in. Ooh. So this is Kickstarter. This is like if he doesn't hit it, he doesn't get any of the money.
That's right.
Do with Indiegogo, flexible goals.
Yeah. And you are not a paid employee of Indiegogo.
No, I am not. I'm not a paid employee of anybody. I give ideas out all the time for nothing.
Yeah.
Saying you could be saying, well, we're going to fall $300 short, but we're still going to produce, instead of saying we got nothing, guys.
Yeah. Well, I'm confident. I'm confident that I've got some backers out there who are just waiting till the end to pull the trigger. We're close. We're close enough that, and we've still got enough time that I'm confident we'll hit that in just a matter of a couple of days.
Well, like you said, it jumped up also right before the show started too. Somebody hit the
yes,
link and
it absolutely did. Hopefully, we'll have conventions, and I'm got my finger crossed that I'll get an invite back to Conway. Maybe by the time you find yourself in that general vicinity, you can work your way down to the show, and I get to meet you.
I will definitely do that. Look forward to it. All right,
absolutely,
Roland,
me too.
Thanks for coming on, folks in the chat. Appreciate you being here. We don't have a show without you. Be back tomorrow, and we hope you had a good time. We'll be back